Hey, what's going on, guys? It's FPL Yusuf here, and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be bringing you guys a different style video. As we've hit the international break now, we've got a couple of weeks before the Game Week 4 deadline starts up. So I just want to go through kind of maybe a little recap of how the season started, certain players that we should be targeting. We're basically just going to run through every team, have a look at all the assets. We're going to rank them in order of best to buy, but also all the way down to worst to buy as well. Just because now we've got a little bit more data, we've had a few game weeks in, just to kind of see where everyone's at, how teams have sort of settled down, how certain assets have settled down. So we've got a lot to talk about in this video. If you guys do enjoy it, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. And let's just jump straight into it. Welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for being here with me today on my YouTube channel for another video. So like I said in the intro, this is a little bit of a different style video today. It's just a little recap of kind of how the first 3 game weeks have gone. We're going to take a look at, different teams who we currently own a lot of assets from, and then we'll take a look right at the end of a compilation of everyone else. So I'm going to go through sort of 5 or 6 of the mainstays where we've got sort of 2-3 assets from each team, and then we'll just look at the best of basically everyone else after. So yeah, if you guys do enjoy this different style of video, please drop a thumbs up. My usual schedule will be back from tomorrow. I'll be back with a transfer plans video. We'll probably take a couple of days off, and then we'll come back with a bus challenge, a fantasy challenge, and then obviously final team selection at the end of next week. But yeah, let's just dive into this. So we'll start off first, and the way I've done this is I'm doing it in color coordinated. So light green will be right at the top. Those are the players that I think we should 100% be owning from a particular club. Then we go to dark green. These are players who are pretty much going to be guaranteed for minutes. They may have the odd early sub here or there, but for the majority of the time, you're going to be okay. Then we go to light yellow, which is sort of borderline, I'd say 60% owned. They're still good assets if they play, but there is a bit of a minutes risk. Dark yellow is kind of like, I would probably sort of veer away from. There's probably other options you can find, and then red is obviously just 100% stay away from. So yeah, let's jump in with Arsenal first, and we'll start off with the light greens and the 100%. And I've only got 3 from Arsenal at the moment, and that is the defense basically. It's David Raya, it's Gabriel, and it's Saliba. I think Arsenal's defense, even though they lost to Liverpool, obviously just showed how good they are from open play. It took a free kick from sort of 35 yards out from Szoboszlai to actually score against Arsenal this season. So I think it just goes to show how good defensively they are. And I think in the few weeks' time after game week 6, I think you'll see a lot of people jumping on the double defense. So if you can get there early, even though the fixtures aren't great on paper, not in Forest at Emirates, and then they go away to Newcastle and then back home to City, there's no doubt that they could definitely rack up some clean sheets in there as well. So yeah, I've gone for those 3 at first because they are guaranteed 90 minutes. They're not going to get subbed off early. Saliba unfortunately did come off with an injury, so I'm not really taking injuries into account for this. This is more if everyone is 100% fit, and obviously now we've got the international break, there's time for him to recover and come back. But yeah, those are the only 3 from Arsenal at this current moment that I'm putting down as 100% guaranteed. Then we come on to the dark greens, Gyökeres and Timber I've got here. Obviously, Ben White is out, which means Timber will continue to start. I do think Timber is first choice right back. There was a little bit of doubt, obviously, because Ben White played the first game at Old Trafford against Man United. But I do think, Timber showed in that game against Leeds how good he actually is. And I think, for me personally, he's one of the better right backs, if not the best right back in the league. So I think he'll be fine going forward. There's always a minute's risk just because Arsenal have got 2 good fullbacks. And we're going to talk about Calafiori in a second. But yeah, I think for now, Timber's fine. Gyökeres, same thing. I think he's fine. I do think Gyökeres will start every game. I don't ever expect to see Havertz starting. The big thing about Gyökeres is I could see him getting pulled off about the 70, 75th minute, which obviously when you're owning someone at that price is not ideal. You kind of want him to be playing through the 90 minutes. And as we saw in his second game for Arsenal, he actually scored in the 90th minute for a penalty. So that's kind of an important reason as to why you want to keep them on the pitch. But I still think they're both fine options. Obviously, right now they've got no competition for their places, so they are good. And I do expect Arsenal over the next couple of weeks to sort of pick it up, start scoring more goals. Obviously, defensively they've been very good as well. So hopefully you'll see more returns from them. And then I've only got 2 dark players. And then we've got 2 players in the light yellow section. That is Calafiori and Eze. Now, it's worth me saying that I do think that both of these will get minutes. I think the biggest risk for me is obviously either rotation or the early subs. Now, Calafiori has got Miles Lewis-Skelly behind him. I do think Calafiori should be first choice. I think he's actually started the season very, very well. But there's always that risk of rotation. Same with Eze. I do think Eze, I didn't expect Eze to start against Liverpool. It was more of a hope than an expectation. But I do think over the course of time, as we get through the next couple of weeks, months, I do think he will nail down that left-hand spot because Martinelli wasn't exactly great again, and Trossard, I think he's just sort of falling the pecking order now. So that's the Arsenal asset for now. Obviously, I haven't named everyone from the team. It's just kind of the biggest players that we'd probably be looking at in terms of FPL wise. On to Chelsea now. So we've got 3 up in the light green. We've got João Pedro, we've got Cucurella, and we've got Robert Sanchez. Now, it is worth me saying that João Pedro would not have been in this category if it wasn't for the Liam Delap injury. Now, obviously, he's returned well the last 2 weeks for Chelsea. Chelsea playing well. Obviously, there's no Palmer in the team at the moment. I think the reason why I've got João Pedro in there now is because the competition for minutes doesn't look like it's going to be there. Obviously, Delap's going to be out for injured. It's looking like Jackson's going to be on the move as well. So João Pedro even if he's not playing that number 10 role, he will start up front, and I don't expect him to get off any early subs. Once Delap comes back, maybe there's a question about his minutes, because obviously, you know, I think Chelsea are quite predictable in terms of if they get to the 65th minute, it's still 0-0, they haven't scored. João Pedro probably would be the one to be sacrificed. But for now, he is a light green. Double defence for Chelsea. Robert Sanchez will play every minute of the season. Cucurella, same thing, barring any injuries. And I do think Chelsea, over the next coming weeks, have got very, very good fixtures as well. They've had good fixtures. They've kept clean sheets, but I think they've also got continued fixtures as well. So, yeah, I would definitely be looking to make a transition towards the Chelsea backline. Then we come to the dark green. Caicedo, Enzo, Palmer, and Chalobah. Chalobah was a bit of an interesting one because I think, obviously, Fofana's back, but he's not up to full speed yet. When he comes back, will he come in? Maybe not, because Chelsea have been quite good defensively. So I think for now, he's all right there. Cole Palmer obviously is out injured. When he's fit, he's going to be playing. I think the reason why I've got him in dark green is not because his minutes, it's more about the position he's playing. If he's out on the left-hand side, I just don't think he's as good an asset. I don't think he's worth the money. I think, as we've seen, when he plays on the right-hand side, as we saw through the Club World Cup, he is very, very good, and he's worth every penny of that 10.5 million. So for me, it all depends on his position for him. The other two in Enzo and Caicedo, they're fine. They're going to play every minute of every week. Maybe a few early subs here and there, but they are going to be starting every game. Caicedo obviously has the DEFCON threat. Enzo will chip in with goals going forward. And obviously, when Cole Palmer's not there, he is on penalties as well. So he has that route to points. But I think that midfield, I think anywhere across the midfield is fine to own them. Like I said, it's not so much minutes risk. It's more about positions for certain players on here. And then I'm straight into a red. I don't think anyone will be going there, but if you are contemplating it, do not do it. And that is Reece James. Obviously, he's got a competition sort of battle going on with Malo Gusto at the moment, but he's just never fit. And obviously, even when he is fit, they're not asking him to do what he used to do. The James of old would be bombing up and down, getting goals, getting assists, but I think the hamstrings for him just can't take it anymore. So he's been asked to play more of a sort of right back, but inverts into the centre. So for me, just an absolute avoid and stay away from him. Then we come on to Crystal Palace. Now, this is a team that I am looking myself to start investing in from Game Week 4. Obviously, they play Sunderland first. I've got two in the light green. Mateta goes without saying. He's on penalties now for them. He is going to be their main man. My only concern about him is there going to be enough creativity now they haven't got Eze? That's my only concern with Crystal Palace. It looks like they're keeping Mark Gahey as well at the time we were recording this. So I think defensively they should be fine. And that brings us nicely into Maxence Lacroix. I think he's just the best. Because DEFCONs, he's just insane. Crystal Palace have not conceded a goal yet, and they've been very, very good defensively. We're going to talk about their defence in a second, but I think the difference between him and the rest of them is that he's an extra 0.5 million more, but I think it's worth it because not only does he offer attacking threat, he's a DEFCON monster, as I said. Like, he just racks them up. It's always pretty much going to be an extra 2 points for him. So, yeah, for me, they're the two in the light green. Into the dark green, we come on to the rest of the defence. Obviously, Mark Gahey, Chris Richards, both been fantastic. Like I said, Palace have not conceded a goal yet. Dean Henderson as well. Another fantastic choice there if you're looking to go for a Palace defender. Munoz, same thing. So it's pretty much all the Palace defence. I really do like them. I think they all offer upside in their own way. Obviously, Munoz, maybe not so much with the DEFCONs, but going forward, yes. Henderson, in those sort of games where it's very close, he will end up making a lot of saves. Very good penalty stopper as well. So there is always that chance that he gets the extra 5 if Palace do give away a penalty. But overall, I think, Palace are just a very, very solid squad to own in. Ismail Assar is the only one, and I've got him as a light yellow. Maybe I'm being a bit too harsh because I think his minutes will be guaranteed now. It's not so much his minutes that I'm worried about, it's more his consistency. I think last year, a lot of us probably would have bought into him and realised, actually, do you know what? He has these games where he gets 10, he gets 12 points, and then he'll go 2, 2, 1, 2, 3 for like the next 6 or 7. So it's very frustrating owning him. But obviously now that Eze's gone, I think a lot more emphasis will be on him to churn out the attacking results. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But for right now, I've only put him in the light yellow. Then we come on to Liverpool. All in the light green, Salah, Alisson, and Van Dijk. The three that have been there the longest, I think, it goes without saying, they're all going to play every minute of every game, providing they are all fit. Alisson just got, I think Liverpool will improve defensively. I think they will get more chance of clean sheets. I personally wouldn't be going for him as a goalkeeper because he doesn't really make saves. Because obviously Liverpool don't really give up that many chances. And if they concede, they're not really good. Alisson probably will have to face 3 or 4 shots after that to make saves. So I don't really like him as a pick personally for goalkeepers. I'd much rather look at David Raya, Matt Sells, someone of that ilk, Robert Sanchez, but he's in there because he's reliable for minutes. Van Dijk is a different question. So at 6 million, he is a little bit of a premium. He's a bit expensive, but DEFCONs, he is very, very good. Obviously, we saw against Arsenal, he didn't get the DEFCONs, but managed to get himself 2 bonus points as well. So yeah, I think there's a place for Van Dijk in certain teams and certain squads. Obviously, you probably want to wait till Liverpool's fixtures turn a little bit. Obviously, they've got a few good ones coming up, and then they go back to maybe not so good, and then after that, they flip back. So maybe it's just about jumping on and off for Van Dijk at the right time. Mo Salah hasn't started the season that well, but it is Mo Salah at the end of the day. And even though he hasn't started that season this well, he's got a goal, he's got an assist, both from literally nothing, both in the last minute, but that's what Salah does. He just gets the point, so he has to be in the light green for me. Then we move on to the dark green. Now, Ekitike would have been in the light green with the rest of them, but we have found out that Alexander Isak has joined Liverpool now. I think this is the reason why I've got Ekitike and Gakpo here together, because I think that beforehand, before Isak, it would have been Gakpo on the left, playing all the way through, Ekitike up front, playing through. Now that Isak's there is a possibility that Ekitike gets moved to the left, which will take minutes off Gakpo, or there's possibility that Ekitike just doesn't start games because Isak's up front. So I think that both of them, for minutes-wise, has gone down a little bit since the start of the season, which is why they're both in that dark green category. Well, it'll be interesting to see how Liverpool line up and how they eventually play. I don't think Isak will come in straight away. I think Ekitike will, hold his spot for now, as obviously he's been playing well, but I do think eventually, at some point, it probably in the next couple of weeks, Isak will probably come into that team to start. Then it begs a question of Ekitike and Gakpo fighting it out for that sort of left-hand side, or maybe, Isak just doesn't play through 90 minutes and comes off as an early sub. Then we move on to the light yellow. I've got Frimpong and Wirtz, the two former Bayern Leverkusen boys. Frimpong, let's start with him first. Obviously, he is out injured, but Conor Bradley's back. So I am a little bit worried once Bradley gets himself up to fitness. Is there going to be competition for minutes? Are we going to see one game one game the other? The early 60-minute sub like we saw in the first week. I know it was due to injury, but these are the sort of things that can happen when you've got two good fullbacks, as we spoke about with Arsenal as well. So yeah, Frimpong, for me, I just can't guarantee the minutes at the moment. I think the attacking output's good, but it's just the minutes I think I worry about him. And Florian Wirtz, no attacking returns yet in the first three. Granted, they were three difficult games. I think the judge of him will be over the next two, where he plays Burnley and he plays Everton. So I've got him in here, not so much for a minute's risk, but more so just because the output has not been there for him. So we'll keep a very close eye on him over the next 2 weeks. But yeah, if it ends up being the same way, he's just not getting returns, I think it's a quick move out and onto someone new. And obviously Alexander Isak, like I said, has joined Liverpool. I put him in dark yellow for now because I don't expect him to start. I think, Ekitike will probably play a couple of games first. When Champions League starts up, it'll be interesting to see how Liverpool manage that, who plays in what. But for now, until we know a lot more about Alexander Isak and where he's going to start, how many minutes he's going to get, I think for the time being he just has to be in a dark yellow. Okay, Man City, Erling Haaland is the only player that I've got in the light green category. He's going to start every game. He's going to play most minutes. The only time he gets subbed off is if Man City are winning 2-3, 4-0. Like we saw in the first game with Wolves. He scored his brace, got pulled off. But in terms of minutes-wise, he's going to be absolutely fine. And, his output, despite how City are playing, he will always score goals because he is just that good. But he's the only one I can guarantee and say, yeah, for certain that is a very, very good pick. The dark greens, Tijani Randers, have got him in there. I do think he's going to carry on getting minutes. I don't think his minutes are going to be as problematic as some people have stated, but I think it's just maybe the output with him. Obviously, we saw him start the season off so well with that debut against Wolves. It's dropped off a little bit, which I think was probably to be expected. To ask somebody who's just joined the league to be performing like that week in, week out, I think it's quite a high ask. Not to say that he can't do it, not to say that he won't come good, but I think he's probably one to just watch for the time being. But the price you're paying for him, he's going to start. He's going to get goals and assists throughout the season. So I think he's just a fine hold for now. Ait-Nouri up next for light green. I do think, like I said this at the start of the season, I do think that his position in this Man City side is going to be safe. I don't expect him to be, sort of chopped and changed around when Gvardiol comes in. So I think he's fine. He offers good attacking threat when he starts going forward. At the moment, Pep seems to be sort of putting the handbrake on him a little bit and not allowing him to drive forward as much as he did at Wolves. But I think once that happens and once it starts to get going, City will eventually start keeping clean sheets as well. Obviously, they had a bad result against Brighton on the weekend, but I think Ait-Nouri, as we saw in the first week, he's fine. He got DEFCON points. He's good for bonus as well. So yeah, for me, another dark green. I think his minutes will be okay. Come into that sort of mid-bracket range where we've got the likes of Marmoush, Foden, Bernardo Silva, Trafford, Stone. These are players who I just can't guarantee the minutes. One game week, you might see them start. City might win 3-4-0. They'll all have contributions in it. And then it could literally be the next week, they're all out of the team. And it's just, I think there's too much uncertainty around here, which is why Erling Haaland is the only one who I put in the light green just to guarantee the minutes. But I think the rest of them, they all have to be in sort of like light yellow, dark yellow, and dare I say red for some of them, because you just never know. And I think at this stage of the season, it's too risky to be playing, rolling the dice on players who A, aren't guaranteed minutes, but B, Man City aren't playing that good either. It's back-to-back losses for them. Gonna have to wait and see how Man City, as the course of the season, lines up. Obviously, they've got a lot of options, especially in the attacking area, so we'll have to wait and see on that. Okay, so that was all the clubs that I feel like most of us are invested in. Now I'm going to just do like an overall for everyone else. All the other teams that we haven't spoken about, I picked their best assets and sort of ranked them, by obviously light green, dark green, and so on and so on. So I'm not going to go through every name on here because, as you can see on screen, there is a lot of them. But we'll talk about some of the key ones in each category just to go over them quickly. Okay, so let's take a look at the light green. So I've done it in order of teams, in the Premier League first. So we'll start off with Semenyo. I've got him in light green. I think value for money, he's very good. But also, he seems to be Bournemouth's main man this season. Is he on penalties? we're not sure yet. Obviously, Evan Nilsson is still there, but Semenyo is just getting chance after chance. He's a very good price. Bournemouth still have a great run of fixtures to go. So I do think that, if you're looking to transition from a Florian Wirtz out, I do think that moving down to Semenyo could be quite a good move. But also, we've seen that even in the big games against Liverpool, Semenyo will still turn up and he'll still cause a problem for them. So I like Semenyo. I think the price he's at is very good. And that's why he's actually number one on this list so far. Marco Senesi, again, his fellow teammate from Bournemouth, I think offers the exact same, sort of upside, but just from a defensive point of view. Very good for DEFCON. Bournemouth actually looking very strong defensively, which was, I think, a big problem for a lot of people, myself included, going to the start of the season. They lost so many of their back line, which did so well last year. I think we all sort of thought, how they're going to cope with that. But actually, they've been doing really well, and he's been a mainstay. So I think if you're looking for a sort of cheapish defender, someone just to rotate in and out with someone else, I do like Senesi, and I think that those Bournemouth assets could be quite useful this season. Okay, then we'll come on to some of the Everton assets. I think the reason why I've got them in here is just price-wise, they're so good. Obviously, Iliman Ndiaye, 6.5 million on penalties. Looks to be playing so much better now that Everton have got, the likes of Jack Grealish, Dewsbury Hall, who is also here on the list at 5 million as well. They just offer great value. I think Everton will score more goals this year. At the start of the season, I was a bit worried about Everton because I didn't think they had enough going forward. But now they've got this sort of 4-2-3-1. Those three behind the strikers, I think, are going to be very, very prolific and very, very efficient this season. So yeah, I do like them. I think that the defense is maybe not as good as maybe what it has been, but obviously when teams change, system and change style and they start attacking more, naturally the defense is gonna suffer because you haven't got as many men behind the ball, you haven't got as many men tracking back. So I think it comes part and parcel with it. And I've got some of the Newcastle boys in here, mainly the defense again. Like I said, without their main striker in Alexander Isak, they really have struggled to score goals. But Dan Burn's been fantastic at the back. Livramento's been great. Shaw, all these different type of players, they've all been so good. So yeah, this is just a handful of names from these light greens, but as you can see, there's a whole lot more of them on there. Then we come on to the dark greens, then maybe not just in that light greens, maybe it could be just due to price, due to efficiency. So let's take Bruno Fernandes, for example. He's DEFCON-wise, he's hit it every single week, and he looks like he's going to just continue doing it, which is great. So you always have those extra 2 points. The problem with him is that he's not really got that attacking threat because obviously Mbeumo, Cunha, Shesko, Mount, they're all dealing with the upside of playing forward. So the only real routes you get to points for Bruno Fernandes is if he scores an open play sort of weldy from outside the box, or he gets penalties, which is a case. We saw on the weekend, he got his penalty, got his bonus points, hit the DEFCON as well. So he can rack up those sort of 10 to 12 points. And I do think he's a good own. His price is a little bit steep. Obviously, if you can afford it, you maybe just downgrade it from Palmer. I do like him. I'd probably just wait for a little bit of better fixtures to come along. But I do think overall he's a decent pick. A couple of other strikers on the dark green. We've got Richarlison, Strand Larson. I think the problem with these guys is that Richarlison more so is a minutes risk. Obviously, with Solanke there behind him, it's a little bit hard to predict which one's going to start. Strand Larson is the complete opposite. Minutes-wise, he's going to be fine. It's just the team he's playing isn't that great. But, I do think that these guys, these type of strikers, they will score goals despite what team they're in. We saw it last season with Strand Larson. 14 goals, all non-penalties as well. So, he has got the potential for that. It's just maybe the teams that they're playing in or the minutes risk. That's why I can't put them in the light green, but I do think that they are fine, viable options as well. To the light yellow section, these are the players that still could do something. They still could come back with returns, but I'm also wary for one reason or the other. So we'll start with Ollie Watkins first. Aston Villa have looked so poor so far this season. They're the only team in the Premier League not to score a goal yet. Now, this is the big stick or twist with him because obviously people are saying that, Aston Villa still have got good fixtures, which they do. On paper, Villa still have got good fixtures coming, but they've had good fixtures as well. And Watkins and Aston Villa just haven't looked like they've been firing on all cylinders. I think Watkins has probably got more of a chance of scoring than Rodgers. We've seen that Ollie Watkins probably should have had a goal in these first 3 games by now, but it's difficult because Aston Villa aren't playing well, which is why I've got him here. I don't think there's any doubt about his ability. It's more so how his team and how he's playing at his current time. I've got a few of the Nottingham Forest defenders on here: Sells, Muriello, Menkovic. They haven't been great at the start of the season, which actually disappointed me. I did expect a little bit more from Nottingham Forest so far. I think for the price they're at, I personally would be looking to move from them. I feel like you could go to a Pedro Porro, you could go up to a Cucurella, a Gabriel, somebody who, around that same price point has probably got much higher upside than what these guys have. They are sort of coming towards the back end of their good fixtures now as well. They obviously play Arsenal after the international break. They've got Sunderland and somebody in 5 and 6. And then after that, you'd probably want to get rid of them because at 5.5 million, it's a lot of money to have a defender who A, is not keeping clean sheets, but they're not getting DEFCONs either. So Nottingham Forest obviously can come good, but just definitely one to keep your eye on for now. Then we've got some of the other forwards, Jarrod Bowen, Dominic Solanke, Brennan Johnson. With the Spurs boys, it's more about minutes. I worry about them. Obviously, Javi Simmons is signed for Spurs, which means is there going to be a rotation with Brennan Johnson? We touched on Richarlison there. if Richarlison continues to have good form, Solanke obviously won't get back into the team. So there's a lot of just competition for minutes at Spurs at the moment, which is why I don't really like their attack. Their defense, on the other hand, very good options, but the attack I'm not really too keen on. Jarrod Bowen, no doubt in his ability as a player, but it's just the team he's in. West Ham just don't look good. I know they've just won 3-0 against Forest, ironically, but it was kind of for most of the game, they weren't really doing much. And in that last 10 minutes, I don't know what happened. They went and scored 3 goals. Maybe with Callum Wilson up front, it might, give him a bit more potency going forward. That would obviously help Jarrod Bowen because he's going to get more assists. But for the time being, I would say just wait and see with him. If you're going to jump on Jarrod Bowen, I would wait until West Ham have a block of fixtures where they are looking good. They're looking winnable fixtures for them. But for the time being, I probably would just stay away at his price point. And then we come on to the dark yellow and the reds. Obviously, these are players who just, for whatever reason, I probably would stay away from. Paquetá, I just don't think he offers enough. I know he's on penalties, but I don't expect West Ham to get a lot this year. I don't think he's really offering enough from open play. Maybe a little bit of chance of DEFCONs, but I just personally wouldn't bother go there. Same with Morgan Rogers. I just think if you're going to go for someone from Villa, spend a little bit of extra money, go for Ollie Watkins. He's probably, like I said, he probably should have had a goal already, but Morgan Rogers just not looking good at the start of the season. And for 7 million, when you think about, Gakpo's 0.5 away, it's just, to me, it just doesn't make sense. So I probably would personally be staying away from them. Konsa, I put in the red here, and Danny Welbeck. They're the only two I've got in the rest of the outside team who I think people would probably look at, but I would say just completely stay away from. Konsa, because Aston Villa just aren't playing well. They're defending poorly. They're just giving away silly goals. Brighton, on the other hand, there's just too much rotation risk there. They have so many forwards. They have so many different structures that they could play. And I just, for me, when it comes to rotation risk at the start of the season, I'm just not a fan of. So for me, yeah, those two are the only two in the red for now. Maybe it's a little bit harsh, but yeah, that summarizes what my list is for the outside of those big clubs that we spoke about earlier. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. I hope you guys do enjoy this different style of video today. It was just something that I thought, because we're in the international break now, I just want to bring a little bit of extra content, just something different, just to kind of sort of talk about some certain assets that maybe, I know a lot of people will be looking to wildcard after this break. So just hopefully that helps you guys to try and make sort of 50-50 decisions about which players you should be getting, which players you shouldn't. I will be back either tomorrow or Wednesday with an early transfer plans video for next week. Then I'm going to take a couple of days off. I'll probably upload over the weekend, maybe an FPL bus team or maybe an FPL challenge video. And then whichever one I don't upload, we'll upload at the start of next week. And then obviously towards the back end, we will do a final team selection and key questions as well. So thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. And I'll catch you guys next time.